Live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, aspirational, international, keenly awaited, daily created, highly anticipated edition of the afternoon swing trading floor with your humble host, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding you to love life, and trade it. Folks, it's Monday. Bunch of people pumped for today. The weekend is over, and now we get to trade. Futures are open. Everything's open. Everything's tradable. We got 4 full days left until we have to wait again for the market to open again. Michael says hello, hi. Mr. Ramsey says hello. Mark says, wasn't it a Monday? It sure was. What a fun day. Fun day out there. Tons to talk about. Realistically, though, this is pretty much the exact candle I expected that we discussed on Friday. Mentioned we'd probably have a very small gap down. We would likely retest a little bit and end with a high wave candle. That was pretty much the expectation. Most of the time when you get a big sell-off like we got, which we did, those are kind of the candles that we get. So what'll be fun about tomorrow is, I think, depending on how we gap, we could get some nice little movement. If we gap up, but we do not open above the high of today, we'll probably fade down. All right, so we'll gap up and have a bearish candle. If we gap down and we don't open below the low of today, same thing. We will gap down and fade. But if we open beyond the high or the low of today's candle, we're going to continue in that direction. I just don't know which one's going to happen, but one of those 4 things. I don't think we just open flat and end flat on the day. So it's possible, but I don't really think that's going to be the case. So realistically, with this June 300 covered call, for anyone who has shares of the SPY, again, that was sold late afternoon Thursday. So as we trade sideways and kind of chop around up here and pull back and rest some, we'll be buying this one back maybe sooner rather than later. And as far as the protective put is concerned, this one right here, I'm going to be keeping that because why not? And I'll be selling some puts against it relatively soon, probably tomorrow or the next day, maybe around this 270 region again, to just slowly chip away at the cost of this really wonderfully timed collar on the SPY. As far as day trades go, here's the 5-minute chart. And the 5-minute chart, this was just the perfect trappy day out there in the market. In fact, here's how I knew it would be a very trappy day. I looked at the futures last night, and I didn't see anything that I liked. I was like, yeah, there's an okay setup or two. This is what I looked at last night, right before I just said, you know what, I'm just going to pack it in, eat a milkshake, and not take any trades. So that's pretty much what happened. That was around 10 o'clock, 220 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So it's about 8 o'clock at night. So I went to bed like 10:30 last night. So right around here, I know that this pattern doesn't look super sexy. That's why I didn't take it. But I thought when this candle came in, I was like, you know what could be nice is entering here with a stop loss there. And I didn't because I just didn't like the pattern on the 15-minute or the hourly chart or the daily chart. I just didn't really feel it. But what I can say is this morning when I woke up, which was right around here, I pulled up the E-minis and noticed, oh, wow, we would have traded up, triggered me in, traded right back down to where my stop was, stopped me out, and bounced. I was like, okay, well, that tells me that today is going to be a super trappy day. And that is exactly what happened. Not only that, but what you'll notice, first of all, is, again, this is still the E-minis chart. You have the pre-market, you have support here, and then today we barely made a lower low. Right into that exact same support, and that's where traders type in a 2 if you would have shorted there 5 months ago. I'm not going to type in a 2 on that one, but 5 years ago, definitely a 2. Maybe 6 years ago, I'm shorting right there. That's the place to go long, right? Out of support, pre-market lows, buy low, sell high. The big bearish candle was yesterday being Friday, and that was the time to go long. So as it was pulling into that support, that was the spot to go bullish. And if I hop back over to the SPY, so here's the SPY, and this is what you get when you look at the SPYs. You have that really nice, gorgeous lower shadow right here. And we did perfectly close below that lower shadow right here at 9:10. And I actually did record all of this morning's session. So if anybody wants that, let me know. But once it closed below there, I said, hey guys, all right, at this point, this is the trap. Look to go long. And if at any point in time we close above the high of this candle, we should continue up. And we closed at 9:25 Central. And Michael Davidoff was like, hey man, we closed above on that candle right there. That's the exact time that Michael told me to get in bullish, and it just, it popped. So Michael, hopefully you played that. Nice little pop, and then it just had that really, really beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And check this out. This is where so many newbie traders got in long. Oh, just so brutal the market was today. None of us went long here. In fact, everyone either went short or didn't do anything. Because right there on SPY was the previous high of the day, breakout level. And it was such an obvious, I feel like it was just an obvious trap since this morning. And Arabia went bearish right there on the SPY. Shout out to my boy Scott McKay, who almost went bearish there on the Qs. I forget your exact entry, Scott, but I think it was below the low of this hammer candle. But either way, the Qs didn't quite make a new high. They got close. But either way, I mean, it was nice for a little bit of a bearish move, and that was pretty much that on the markets. So again, as far as swing trades are concerned, just wait it out. Gorgeous high wave candle. This week will be fun. We're going to make a lot of money this week, folks. Me and Blake have already talked it up, and Brad's traveling this week, or he's doing something. I forget what he's doing. I think he's traveling or on vacation. He'll be in the room tomorrow, which is Tuesday. Blake will be there in the afternoon. But it's Blake and I the rest of the week. And I was like, all right, Blake, let's do this, man. We're going to do our best to get like 7 hours this week. That's going to be the goal. 7 hours. So today was a 1.7 hour day for me. We got whatever that is, 7 minus 1.7, 5.3. 5.3 to go. Let's do it, folks. This week, I think we can do it. There's going to be a lot of really fun volatility this week. Let's get ready. That's pretty much it as far as the broader market. Everything else just a little bit of a high wave candle. Dow Jones, high wave candle, IWM. Bounce off the 100 simple. Almost got there. Very, very close. Very important candle today on the IWM team. I cannot stress this enough. Cannot. This is a retest. So if we do start to have some nice bearish gap downs or some bearish closes, we close below the low of this candle, we are absolutely going lower. If we gap below the low of today, we're going lower. I mean, it's just a really, really nice candle. Great spot in the market. I'm totally pumped for anything. Bull bear, I'm just ready to go. First on the list today is ROKU. I actually did have a bearish swing trade that I set up on ROKU like halfway through the day. And apparently I'm just a giant toad and I don't know how to read a chart because ROKU just continually is going higher. Now, we didn't get triggered into this trade. I set up about 30 minutes into market open. Here's the 15-minute chart, and ROKU, it opened and just it ran all day. I forget who took ROKU bullish today. Richard says, will the algo class be recorded and put on the site? Of course. What a terrible product it would be without a recording. All right. Let me scroll up. I forget who caught ROKU bullish. Oh, there it is. Slavia. Great trade. Again, great trade. So this is one that we can cancel for the bearish swing trade. So I did post it. It is in the worksheet. Give me one quick moment. So it was in the worksheet. I wanted to go bearish at 63.20 with a stop at 67.31. And I'm just not at this point. So I'm going to take that off. I did not mean to delete everything. Give me one moment, because I still do have the bear call spread on Roku, but the bear call spread is an 85.90, and it's for April, which it still is possible that Roku gets up 25 points in 4 weeks, but I'm going to bet that it doesn't, and I'm just going to kind of keep holding out for a little bit. So 85.90 bear call spread still in that, and I will continue to keep an eye on Roku weakness. I don't know. Well, I do. I do know why I'm being so bearish on Roku. This is just unsustainable. This is not real. Talk about real life. That is not real life. I cannot go long up there on a swing trade. Day trade, sure. No problem. On day trade, I can do anything. But on a swing trade, I just can't bring myself to buying up there. So I'm just going to keep my eyes out for a short for day trades and or swing trades, just because I just looking at the chart, it needs to either pull back or just trade sideways a little bit more. Based on the volume, I'm entirely wrong, and it's just going to keep going higher. So throwing that out there. But I'm just going to wait on a gap to day trade it, and I'm going to wait on this strategy. Again, you all know this strategy, but this strategy says I'm going to make money as long as Roku doesn't get above 85. So 20 points of wiggle room. It can go higher, chop around, trade sideways, all of that, totally fine. Okay, next on the list is Monster Beverages, MNST. And there was Mr. Squiggles. So far, he's pretty much spot on. He wanted this bad boy to retest a little bit, and it is. So, working on the retest. This is the hourly chart. It looks like a very pretty double bottom. Very pretty double bottom. Which means at this point you get a retest, trade higher. That would be the wave 3, 4, wave 5 of the retest. I don't know exactly how high that's going to go. But all I'm saying is, so far, I mean, shorter term, I'd have no problem actually looking for that to play bullish. And I'll throw that on the list for tomorrow morning, just in case it gaps up. Monster gap up, question mark. So just in case it opens above the high of today, because if it does, then it's going to run up into 56. But otherwise, I won't even trade it at all. I'll put it on the list for Wednesday, and we'll just keep a soft eye on Monster. Levi's, one of the dumbest IPOs I personally think of. I can't think of a stupider IPO, and it's just going to keep going lower. So that's all I have on Levi right now. Can't short it. Can only go long. Options, I don't think, are out yet. And I would just wait for this one to go into the low teens before I do anything with it bullishly. Mid-teens. Joanne says, how do you really feel? I know. I'm having a hard time covering up my thoughts on Levi's. I just don't know why in the world they would IPO again. It's not like their first one went well. So, yeah, I'll be a perma bear on this one for a bit. And I would personally just wait a while to buy it. And when I say wait a while, I will flip my position in a second. If we gap up, let's say tomorrow we gapping above here. Because remember that, folks, that's one of the best things you can ever have in your trading plan is this rule right here. If Newsom says this, says whatever, says XYZ, and is 100% wrong, and tons of other people are wrong and trapped, go that direction. That's a great, great strategy. So again, if I'm looking at something, I'm like, oh man, I'm so bearish on this, blah, 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 blah. And then the very next day, it opens like here. You know, so if Levi was gapping above the high of today or gapping above these highs, I mean, I'm not in any position, but I would obviously be dead wrong and I would go bullish. Clive says, if you can't short it, how is it going down? Mr. Clive, so people can buy an IPO before it hits the market, and those are the people that sell. So banks, institutions, hedge funds, mutual funds, and individual investors can buy an IPO before it IPOs. And when they buy them, they have the ability to sell the shares on the open market. And again, if there's more sellers, more people who are selling, and more supply, then the price will go lower. Yeah, great question. All right, next on the list, FTCH. So FTCH, you all might remember, I'm out of this one, fully out, and that's about all I have. I mean, I'm looking at this one now bearish. I'm keeping an eye on this one because this was a great trade that just didn't do anything. But if I do this trade bearish, that means I'd have a lot of bearish swing trades, which is kind of weird because I kind of think the market's going to bounce. Let's wait on this one more day. I'm just going to kind of keep waiting because if I take this trade, that means that we'd have like 4 bearish swing trades. And we're going to have to exit one of them tomorrow. Speaking of, this is the one I'm going to have to exit tomorrow. It was OLLI's bargain outlet. Got the message over the weekend that earnings are going to be coming up on this one. And wanted to exit today, but it didn't really ever get below the entry long enough for me to exit. So it did like for like a quarter of a second at market open, like the very first 1 minute candle got below the entry, so I didn't have time to get out of that. But I'm pretty much just going to be market exiting this one tomorrow. I would like to hold short over earnings. And per my plan, I'd actually be allowed to because I have a big cushion of R's for this month. So even if it gapped up to here and I lost 2 R's on this trade, I have other R's to spare. So it wouldn't be like a dramatically bad issue because if it gaps down, it's going to continue to run, I think. But that being said, I did not write into my plan stipulating that I could hold this one over earnings. And since I did not do that, I can't. So I'll be getting out of this one tomorrow, pretty much market open. Market open later in the day. I mean, I'll watch, like if it's gapping down, it looks like it could go lower. I'll kind of like lower the stop. But yep, that's pretty much what I got on this one. So that is OLLI, doing absolutely jack squat. So that'll be one bearish trade that we will be out of and take a loss on that one. Check out this Nike chart. I mean, exactly what we drew from Friday. Gapped down and traded higher. Because again, you got a nice blue chip stock, bearish candle gapping down. Here's the 5-minute chart on Nike. And you had a lot of weird news out there today on Nike. I mean, even in hindsight, I don't know exactly how I would have traded this one. The only trade that I was talking about today was, if I come over here, the only trade I was mentioning today on Nike was when this candle came in, I was like, all right, let's wait one more bearish candle. You could go bullish there with a stop loss there. That was pretty much it. Next candle was bearish, and so I was like, okay, well, if you want to do that, you can. And this candle came in, and then this candle, and then this candle. And so obviously, if you're going to take a bullish trade, and you're like, all right, well, I'm looking at going long on this trade, and you're looking at going long there, and then the stock goes lower and gives you a nice little inside candle, 3 inside candles. Well, sorry, 2 inside candles in a row. Inside day candle right now, and it's, you know, that would have been the breakout. So that's pretty much all I got. So if you're gonna play it, you got to go long there, and if you're already going to go long anyway, so I mean, there's the entry. So that would have been the trigger to get in bullish here at 82.23, and your stop would have been a little bit lower, you know, potentially. But either way, pretty much regardless, however you played it, I mean, it would have won maybe very, very small. And then bearishly, I didn't even have it on my radar. Bearish. It broke this double top when the Stormy Daniels news came out. Closed below the neckline, nice lower shadow, and if you're going to get in bearish, it would have been there, stop loss there, and you would have exited for 1 hour at the low of the day, and that would have been it. I mean, even in hindsight, that's all I can really see is just like a clean, classic setup. Because there's your double top right there. Boom, 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 boom. That's it. All right, that's all I got on Nike. Next on the list is the DIS, ticker symbol DIS, and Disney. Hanging out. So here's the daily chart on Disney. So the bullish, I was looking at this to go bullish. What was it, Friday? High of this candle is 109.07. So my entry was 109.12. Stop loss at 107.05. Yeah, I think that still makes sense. So if you want to go bullish on Disney, that's how I would. I'm going to wait for a bull put spread. I don't specifically want to be in Disney shares or call options. If you do, you certainly can. I like the setup. I just think it's a little bit more sideways to neutral. And I'm not the biggest Disney fan, like personally, because, you know, the crowds and the heat. Big bearish gap down right here on the weekly chart, a lot of volume, and I kind of think it's going to go lower anyway. So at this point, just hanging out and just doing well. Any questions on Disney? Okay, cool. Next on the list, JLL. And JLL. So this is one that we were looking at, that we were thinking about getting in again, another bearish entry. Why do I have so many bearish entries out there? Is the market going to roll over, or is it trying to trick me? I feel like I'm being tricked. Man, I would have missed that trigger by 60 cents on a $150 stock. So that means anytime I get into a trade, I want to take a retest, and I miss the retest by pennies, I just cancel it and then kind of like reanalyze or reapply. So that's pretty much all I can do on this one, is try to get it at a better price. So I have to wait another 18 hours to make sure that still looks good, and then we might set that up. So we'll look at that again tomorrow. Bottom line, canceling JLL. Sorry, not canceling it. Not setting it up. Updating my entry and seeing if that still looks good on Tuesday. If it does, I might set it up, and if it doesn't, then I'll just cancel and go, oh, well, looks like I missed that one. Or it could be a good thing that we miss it, you know, and that'll pretty much be it. EA Sports. It's in the game. So EA Sports, perfect high wave candle today, and the high is 103.54. The entry that I was looking at was 103.63 with a stop at 142. So my big question is, should I be buying the dip on this or buy the breakout? That's always a tough question, and I don't know if I can answer that one on this one. They both look good. I feel like the breakout on this particular trade is just a wee bit safer. But at the same time, I also kind of feel like the market wants to trade down to the 50 and bounce. You did have a high wave candle. I mean, really all I'm trying to do is get my R back on EA. And if this trade worked, so if that trade right there looks good, that would be like 1.2 Rs, and I get my R back and then some, and everything will be good. But I'm going to listen to my boy Mark because he's always right. He says, wait and review it tomorrow. I can deal with that. If we get another, because I actually kind of would like to buy it around 122 again, very similar to where we got in lower, earlier. I also would kind of want, yeah, I'm just going to wait. Usually if you pull up a trade and you're looking at it and you're like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do on it, you should probably give it some time. Marvel Tech Group. So MRVL. I was looking at maybe buying this bad boy off of the 200. It had a good bullish trend. You have a little bit of a bullish high wave candle. This does look a little bit like the market, right? You got that like lower low. You got the big bearish candle. You got like the very, very small high wave candle today. I think this is going to move exactly like the market moves, which means I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait on Marvel. What am I waiting for? I mean, specifically, I don't know. I'm just going to keep waiting. I'll put that on the list for Thursday. Because again, if I get into something that looks exactly like the market, I might as well just play the market. If they're moving in at what appears to be an identical clip, it's kind of like, well, just play the market then. All right, let's go look at ticker symbol HUYA. HUYA. And HUYA. So my drawing on this was wait for a retest and then a rollover. But the 200, I forgot about the 200. I don't think I looked at the 200 on Friday when I drew that. I might have. I don't think I did. I didn't think the 200 was formed on this. That is very interesting. It looks kind of good. Bull or bear. I would have liked, well, I guess I would have liked to gotten in at open. If I was going to get in, that was the time, was open. That's 200. So this is the daily moving average long term. Here's the short terms. And I think we also bounced off the 20. We gapped down below the 20 and we closed above it. Here's how I would play HUYA personally. I'm not going to do that right now. That's just how I would. Can't be in everything. But if I was not in HUYA, I would get in with half an R in the halfway of today's candle. So like 25.30. I would do another half an R right here at the 50 at 23.50. So 25.30 and 23.30. 25.30, 23.30, and then my stop loss would be like right about there. 21.30. So it'll be 25.30 by half an hour, 23.30 by half an hour, and then 21.30 for the stop loss. And if that stop loss gets stopped out, look to buy it again at 20. That's my thoughts on HUYA. Of course, you could do some put sales as well and just get paid as it trades sideways. I do like the fact that it's hitting that 200 simple, like it gapped down and got bought up. But I also kind of think this one could just trade chop around sideways some more. Next on the list is good old Walmarto. And Walmart is as sideways as a Persian carpet. Weekly chart. I mean, there is zero direction in this thing. Yeah, I'll just wait this out, team. Wait it out. I don't have anything in Walmart. If you have some put sales or you have shares and you're doing covered calls, wonderful. Other than that, I just see a nice little sideways grind with not much else. Not a lot of other action. Pivotal Software doing absolutely jack squat. So Pivotal Software is trading sideways. Have the $19 long put, which really isn't worth very much at this point. And that's okay. I'm kind of just waiting for Pivotal to chop around and then eventually grind higher. This is a stock that I like a lot for some share ownership and doing a collar strategy on. Again, this particular protective put has been bought and paid for. And based on all this volume, I really like all the volume on the weekly chart, and I love the fact that it broke that IPO low. So I think at this point on Pivotal, I've looked into the company fundamentally, and I'm still not blown away. So this is still going to be a decently medium-sized position for me of 300 shares, and just let it keep chopping around for a little bit longer, I guess. Okay. ACB had a decently kind of nice candle today. I love the fact that it gapped down. I love the fact that the moving averages still look bullish. I like the volume. I like the trends. A few of you took some profits off today. A few of you trailed some stops. There's all kinds of things you could do here. For those of you that are still in these calls, I'll update tomorrow on the increasing of the stop for that. I think that could easily be increased if you are still in to trail your position. Had one trader sell some calls against the calls they owned up there, which was kind of nice. Chief says it's a waiting game on a lot of these stocks. Yep. So this one, you are correct. Right now, we're just going to let it sit back and do its thing and hang out. So that's what I got. I mean, I like the candle on this one. I'm kind of, fingers crossed in a way that this is it. This is the pullback that we were waiting on. And we're going to slowly chop around here and then eventually break higher and trade to 1154. That's what I'm hoping for. Okay, next on the list is IQ. And IQ, I heard a rumor that Blake was looking at a dip buying opportunity around here. So that bullish gap and go and the 50 EMA on IQ, I'm fine with that, but who can remember the stock that I was comparing IQ to? Anybody remember that? Alibaba. That is absolutely correct. So check this out. My boy Kyle Williams. Check out this chart. All right. So this is a comparison chart on Alibaba. And what Kyle did was take the absolute, post-IPO high and kind of like the post-IPO low and did a fib. So what he's saying, based on the measurements that we did, was that right here is a 38.2% retracement of the IPO high to the IPO low. And we retraced to the 382 before Alibaba went lower. Now, here is the IQ chart. IPO breakout high to the IPO breakout low, 0.382 retracement, and it starts to crumble, which is interesting. So what I'm trying to get at is the similarities are still there. I'm not saying it's going to go back lower, but what I am saying is I think there's a strong chance that it might. And today's candle is going to be really important. So if for some reason we close below here, I will be more bearish than bullish on IQ. If we close above the high of today, then we might retest, but I'm just really keep a close eye on this pivot, because that Alibaba comparison is still on, and I haven't forgot about it or thrown it away or whatever. But and all that means, you know, at the end of the day, is if IQ does close low 23, there's a strong chance that it does this. You know, it goes down to 9 or something, and then rallies all the way back up to 50 or whatever, 2-3 years from now. All I'm saying is the patterns look interesting. There's some similar patterns. So we start closing below 25.59. I'm going to go short on IQ. So speaking of BABA, right, that was the BABA comparison. And again, that comparison was all the way back from over here. I mean, feel free to do the charts yourselves. They're not far off. In fact, I wonder if I can do, how can I do this? Give me 1 second. I can't really go that long today because we got the algo class that comes right up, but let me just draw this box, and then how can I copy this box? If I go back over to IQ and paste this box, same size box. Ooh, Betsy, that's close. So that was just the exact same size box, I think. And I mean, that's not far. That's not far from the very top of that retracement. Anyway, so if you have a bunch of shares of IQ and you want to protect them, you know, if it closes below 23, 28, buy some puts and protect yourself, because as Albert says, better safe than sorry. So back over to BABA. Today was a great day to do a put sale on Alibaba, because it was gapping down very nicely this morning. And I can't remember the last time that you had a bearish candle gapping down on Alibaba. It seems like a really long time ago that BABA was doing something like that, but I guess there's some similarities somewhere to be found. So anyway, it gapped down and then immediately got bought up. I did watch this one, and I did mention on Friday that I would look to go short on BABA. The very first opening candle, this was it right here. And if I'm going to go short, that's not the candle that I want to see. So once Alibaba did this, 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 and this, it was a double bottom. And it was either going to be going long on BABA or long on Tesla. Both would have made about 1.5 Rs. I guess theoretically I could have done both. But yeah, we made good money on BABA on a Tesla day trade today, and then BABA, I mean, would have been the exact same. Here's the pre-market. And the pre-market, you had a one white soldier candle just come out the gate on Alibaba. And yeah, good job, Rocky, for getting 2 Rs on BABA. And that's all I have at the exact moment in time. Okay, next on the list is Apple. Now, I know I only have 20 minutes left until we're over, and I don't have that much extra time for today. Type in a 1. Shoot, I should have a poll. I don't have a poll for this build. Type in a 1 if you're bullish on Apple after the event. Type in a 2 if you're a bear. I want to see where you guys are at. For those who watched the event. If you didn't watch the event, that's okay. I'd like to know what you all think. Oh, shoot. So everyone's a 1. All right. So that means it's probably going to go down a little bit farther than we thought. So if everyone other than Falco, I'm a full bull at this point. Full on. I loved it. Falco says the news and the TV equal TV Plus is lame. Agreed. So the news is a waste of money. That's stupid. Apple TV is still a phenomenal product, and more people are going to buy those, but that's not a huge revenue machine for them. You know, once you buy an Apple TV, that's pretty much it. You only buy it. I mean, they only made like $900 million selling that in the last, few years. So pretty abysmal numbers for the Apple TV. The Apple Arcade is going to be at least a $3 million a day revenue generator for Apple. And depending on how they price it, that's just pure systematic cash generation for Apple Arcade. The Apple Card and Apple iPay updating is straight up money. Falco says, I'm getting the titanium Apple Card. So will I. I'm trying to figure out how to put precisely into words how bullish I am on Apple after the announcements today. The last time I talked about Apple Pay and how amazing it was right here. And a lot of you, I think, took the hint and played some bullish positions on Apple and made $1 or $2. Now, Apple Pay is coming out with a subway transit link app where you can pretty much either from your phone or from your iWatch just pay your commute, your transit, your subway ticket, whatever. You don't have to carry on a ticket anymore. That's going to be massive. The fact that the whole Apple Card, the fact they don't have late fees, they are going to be able to just, oh my gosh, it's so much information. I'm just so fired up. I'm pumped. Falco says the content creation is a money sink, though. It's a money sink that lasts, my man. That's what a lot of people said about that one company that creates movies. Shoot, what's that company called? Netflix. Yes. Content is king, man. You create content. One of my favorite internet acronyms, COPE. Create once, publish everywhere. So these games they're creating, they're going to have one of them that's going to be a huge hit. One of those games has to be a huge hit. And it's going to get a lot of people to sign up for it. And it's going to get a lot of people to play. And then they're going to start buying other things. And they're going to start buying Activision or Take-Two Interactive or just be pure competitors. And they're going to start linking up. I'm full bullish on Apple. There's no question about it. At this point, what do I actually think is going to happen? I'd love it to pull it down to 175, and that's where I'm buying more. I think a pull down there is reasonable. Apple is a very buy the rumor, sell the news. Jerry says their card is going to cash other cards to change big time. It will. It will, especially with no late fees. And so here's the thing. Apple is going to start working on crafting and changing the credit sector. I know this for sure, and credit will be different 10 years from now. Massively different. You're going to, instead of having, your credit like, oh, you didn't pay this. I have a collection from Comcast cable that is still on my credit from 9 years ago that has 2 zeros. It hit collections after I paid it off, and that's just one of the things that's going to be on my credit for another 2-3 years before it goes away. The credit system is so magnificently and majestically bad that products like Apple Pay and Apple Card and the ability to process and verify how transactions are made by the end user and how people actually do pay their bills and pay their, whatever they're trying to pay off, that's going to change their credit. Because instead of going and seeing, oh, this person has no credit, so we're not going to give them any credit card at all or whatever, then they can see this person's transaction history and go, wow, this person has really good cash management. They pay off all their bills on time. Even though they don't have any credit, let's give them a credit card. And they're going to continue to use it, and they're going to start helping the unbanked or the uncreditable. They're going to start helping immigrants who come over from America to America and are getting green cards or residencies or working visas, and they're getting married to residents here that live in the States, and they're getting the green, they're getting their immigration that way, their immigration status, and they don't have any credit, but they're going to be able to use Apple Pay. It's a big thing. All I'm getting at is, I think that's going to be, it's huge. I'm all about it. Jerry said the expansion in all these areas is huge. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm totally with you. So I'm going to get one of those cards, and I'm going to be using it. And we're getting closer and closer to a cashless society. Chief says no foreign transaction fees. No foreign transaction fees, ma'am. None. Oh, at least according to their thing. I mean, I'm not here to be the spokesperson for it, but I haven't read all the details on it yet. But it's going to be pretty sweet. So all I'm getting at is I am just looking for dips on Apple of which to buy. And however low it goes, I will be buying more. Type in a 4. That's totally acceptable. You guys know where my stance is on Apple. It could go down to 140. And I'll buy puts on it, okay? I'll protect myself. I'm not going to be just a weirdo, but I'm bullish, man. Have some shares. All right. Next on the list, TME, little Apple tangent, I'm sorry. Diego says, specifically now that money market wanted the cashless economy with cryptos, now this replaces it. A little bit, yes, to an extent. Not going to deny that at all. I think that there's still a place for some cryptos, not most of them. Not most. 2 or 3. The rest are pretty much garbage for right now. But yes, cashless society, it's coming. TME, I don't have much on this one. I think this is a wave 5 that we just created. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is some kind of weird correction, and that we could eventually go higher. I haven't, let me see if I can have Ashley add this one to her IPO list. TME to your IPO list. I don't have anything on this one, guys. Let's just keep waiting for it. I think it could go a little bit lower, and I think it does. I think this is an A wave correction. So A, B, C. Okay. Next on the list is CGC. CGC. Now remember, this is Mr. Squiggles drawn from Wednesday. I know how the market likes to trap people, and it was trapping folks all day today. So many people went long. And I'm not saying that was a bad call. I'm just simply saying that it didn't close above the breakout. And, you know, that's a good thing. Oh, by the other way, there's a lot of people that hate the Apple releases today and are full bearish. Not in here necessarily, but other people that I'm talking to on like Twitter and just my other people who are quote unquote in the know. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You want some bears out there. Helps make the market. That's why when all of you guys are bullish, I'm thinking we're going to go a little bit lower. Not because that's just the general market sentiment. When everyone is doing one thing, and if everyone likes Apple, we're probably going to go a little bit lower. So 175-ish makes sense. So anyway, back to canopy growth. I think this very well could be the trap. CRON is supposed to come out with earnings pretty soon, and depending on how the earnings are on this one, might cause the rest of the market and the rest of the alternative harvesting stocks to maybe go a little bit higher. That's always my favorite, alternative harvesting. It cracks me up. Mark says, balance at the 50 EMA. Sounds good. Yep, so that's what CRON is working on now, and CGC is also working on as well. So if it bounces off the 50, great. If it doesn't, that's also fine, but it makes sense for them to start bouncing now. Okay. Walgreens Boots Alliance. I want to go bullish on Walgreens. I guess I'm gonna have to straight up wait until earnings. Well, the good news is we can start planning now what to do on earnings when it gaps. I think Mark is correct. Wait for the second bottom. I think you're absolutely right. And that's what we're going to do on earnings. So this, and we come down here on earnings, we gap down, and I'll look to go long. I'm going to put that on the list for next Monday. And again, just a reminder, Thursday of next week is my last day on the microphone for a few days. I'm going to take an actual quote-unquote vacation. The whole skiing thing might have sounded like a vacation, but I can assure you it was not. Even though I did ski, technically I snowboarded. It was not a vacation, like a not working vacation. So according to some people, I'm supposed to just fully take off at least once a year. And I have to be on the water when I do that because there's no internet access. Jerry says, I thought you just got back. When were you on the mic? Were you boarding? Yes, I did. I got back like 14 hours ago into Nashville. I was on the mic all day Wednesday, all day Thursday, and all day Monday last week. Plus the kids' webinars. So yeah, last week I think overall I worked about 72 hours. Chief says another cruise. Yeah, yes. This one is a smaller one though. This is going to be a really special event, man. This is the Mediterranean Greece cruise with me, Ashley, and 4 other people. So we're renting a big sailboat and just going to go from island to island and enrich lives, man. It's going to be wonderful. Yeah, this is the one I've been planning for like 6 years. Takes time to slowly get there, but yeah, I'm fired up. So I'll keep you all posted because that is an international travel date. Carolyn says, you deserve it. Thank you, Miss Carolyn, for saying that. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. It's going to be an absolute wonderful experience. Mark says, you will not be on the below deck med. Nope. Beiju says, got to tell us. I want to plan that too. Nice. Yes. So the thing is, type in a 6 if this sounds remotely appealing. Me, maybe 1 or 2 other traders who are like on Wall Street, in the banks, in the stock market, and you and like your spouses for 7 days cruising Greece on a sailboat in the islands around there. Yeah, sounds pretty sweet. So I'm going to do it once a year, and next year I'm going to invite a few people, maybe 4 or 5 people. So that's it's going to happen every year. But I haven't done it yet, so I can't invite people to go because I don't know how it's going to be. So I can't have people show up because I don't really know what to expect yet. But I know me and my boy Scott McKay are going to be there because when he was in Nashville, he said that sounded like the greatest time ever. It's going to be a blast. And I do want to check out some hot spots because I think it'd be fun to still trade a little bit, you know, with like a satellite internet or go into one of the islands and test it out. So we'll see. It's going to be fun. And if it's not Greece, it could be the Caribbean island, you know, the Caribbean, Florida Keys, maybe a little bit of Bali one day with my girl Jill, Ricky, Mikey, and the Australian crew. It's going to be heaven. I'm very, very excited. Yes. Plenty of pictures and videos will come. Don't you all worry. Okay, sorry. I'm a chatty Cathy all day long. SBGL looks like it's going to continue. Strong move, great gap, good little volume, upper shadow today. If it continues higher and you want to be in, feel free to, or if it pulls back, feel free to hop in. We'll look at that more on Friday. I don't have an exact trade set up on it yet, but I'll be waiting this one out. I'm going to start turning on the afterburners and going a little bit faster. Stamps.com, we're waiting for it. I don't see anything yet, but could be forming a morning star reversal. This is when I'm going to start getting interested in the Stamps.com because it broke the low of this candle. So it took out that low, which means that's the trap, right? A lot of people are hopping on bearish right here, expecting it to roll over and go to zero. So I'll be watching for a bullish move on Stamps.com. So we could just keep an eye on it to see what it does. But right now, I'm going to wait for a moment. Chegg, which if I have a kid, I think I'm going to name him Chegg. That sounds like a great name. No one's ever going to get made fun of for being named Chegg. What's up, bro? I'm Chegg. How's it going? This thing has been a powerhouse since 2017. Strong breakout with volume. This has to be a wave 5, right? No, not necessarily. I don't know what wave this would be. Chegg. Look at that bearish volume. Ooh, I'd wait. Falcon says Citron is hammering it, which probably means it's going to go higher because they're terrible at calling tops. I don't have anything on this one yet, but I do like the fact that it traded to this gap. I do like the fact that it bounced a little bit. If anyone is looking at buying here, I mean, you're welcome to, but I think it can go a little bit lower. So I'm going to put that on the list for Friday, and we're just going to come back and see what Chegg can do. Falco says he's already out. Establish your short position, then put out research. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. I thought you were talking about something serious. Absolutely. Get short and tell everyone that it's going to go lower and then get out once it makes his move. That makes sense. All right, ladies and gentlemen, NIO did it today. I'm sure you all remember me talking about this. I did not know it was going to happen until once it gaps down, but once it gapped down, you all remember my conversation where I said, folks, that is a false channel breakout, and she's going into the low of the pre-market low. Type in a 7 if you remember that one. Because we discussed it. I was like, okay, it's going. I mean, with that gap and go, it's going lower. It's going to take out that IPO low. And it hit 527 today on the nose. So if you're going to start accumulating a position, this is about now. I'm going to say the word accumulate because it will take time. I do not think NIO is going to do this. Although it could, and I could be massively incorrect about how quickly it continues. Usually when something triggers and breaks IPO lows, it does it for a few times just to really piss people off, and then it goes higher. 367 should be as low as it goes. That should be the max. So if you're going to have a stop loss, a $2 stop loss, $2.50, $3 should give you plenty of room. I would say look at shares because options are not that expensive. If you want to buy some, If you want to buy call options, they're not very expensive. Just buy long and far out because it will take a little bit of time. But it did get down to 527. Again, I don't have any position in NIO presently. That doesn't mean that you all can't, though. Just because I'm not going to personally trade this doesn't mean that you all can't. I love the fact that it broke the IPO low. I love the fact that it hit 527. And from here, start putting your toes in if you want some shares, and just understand that it could go as low as 367. I know that sounds insane because that's like 40% lower than it is now. That's what I'm saying. Put some small toes in. Okay. Netflix. Joannis says, if and when China happens, it will move up. I'm not really disagreeing with that. I think you're totally correct. But I do think it's going to accumulate for a while, and it should be fun. My boy, Chief, and his daughter has a 410 put sale for April on Netflix. Hoxian is looking at going long-term calls on Netflix and would know if today is the day. That's really it's tough to call. If it were me and you're like, hey, Newsom, you got to buy a long-term call on Netflix. Where do you buy it? I'd buy it at 345. I think the Apple deal and the Apple news will hurt Netflix a little bit. And this is a pretty nice evening star reversal pattern. So since people were asking, what I would do on Netflix, I would like it back down at 345, and then you'd want to buy probably a 380 September or longer call option. So my answer is wait. I think you can get a little bit cheaper, a little bit less expensive. Now, if you feel like, oh man, this is it, this is the bounce, get into and sell some calls against it immediately. So if you do buy a call here, like a September, whatever it is, 380, sell some 400 calls against it, because I do think it's going to chop around and trade sideways for a while, and you can decrease that dollar cost average. I love the put sale on this one, and excited to see what happens on earnings on Netflix. I'm very bullish on Netflix long term. Don't have any position in it right now, and I'm trying to figure out how to get into a position because I miss my buy down here at 245. Like an absolute jagaloon. How do you miss that? I do not know, but I did. Shoe Carnival comes out with earnings relatively soon. If Shoe Carnival gaps down, it will fade. Sorry, I apologize. If it gaps down, it will continue lower, not fade. And if it gaps up, I think it's going to fade. Pretty much anywhere in here. SCVL pre-earnings analysis. I just learned today this company was publicly traded. Today. Wow town. Anyway, if SCVL gaps down into the red box, it will go lower. And if it gaps up into the red box, I'll expect a fade. That's pretty much all I got on that. SCVL. I have no positions of any kind in this stock and don't want any yet. Day trade, maybe. Okay. That's what I got on Shoe Carnival. Do you want to buy some shoes? Next on the list, CPRX. CPRX, Catalyst Pharmaceuticals. I pulled this one up in the afternoon, like right around here, and it just kept on going bananas. So I think we missed it. Catalyst Pharmaceuticals. All right, I'm gonna put on my list just to see if we can ever catch a pullback. I don't know if we actually can. Probably can't. CPRX. I got a few other swing trades to update everyone on. Why am I going so slow today? Urban T, which is ticker symbol MYT, also known as MyT. What a great ticker. Oh, man. I just wish someone would hire me just to do tickers. I think that'd be a fun job. So MyT, believe it or not, some volume coming in on this one. It's a little bit of a cheapo. It's a little choppy, but I think we might have an opportunity to buy a dip on this one. Doesn't look all that substantial yet, but I think we can start keeping an eye on MyT. CTEV, or is it CETV? That's it. CETV, Central European Media Enterprises. Posting a straight up interesting gap with a very interesting candle. So CETV, I'm going to be looking at real close tomorrow. We might trade this one for a day, swing trade or day trade. All right, 2 left, and we're going to look at the stocks that were unofficially. Target, my girl Peju probably playing Target. You had the strong bullish gap and go on earnings, and since then it's been staying strong. Hasn't even hit the 10 yet. Doing something different than the broader markets. You have 5 white candles in a row so far, and I would like to buy a pullback on this one. I mean, on a monthly chart, you have a very good gap. Moving averages is like 75.02. Target looks pretty nice. So TGT looks cute. And I'd say buy the dip or just keep holding on to that one because it looks like a good trend. And last but not least, Key Energy Services. So we looked at this one on Friday, and I said, all right, well, let's just see what we get. And it actually is continually pulling back even more, which is good because we thought we missed it back over here on the 11th of March when it broke out and made it run up. I did do an official trade on this setup to catch the breakout, and it did not break out, and it was kind of hard to short anyway. So at this point, just know that now that it's down here, I'm going to be watching it pretty much every day to figure out where we can get in on a dip. This one could be one that we leg into. This one, like a half a share and then half a share. That actually doesn't sound that bad of a plan. That doesn't sound that bad at all. I could do that right now. Half an R. Okay. And half an R right here. Question is, where's the stop going to go? If it goes to the $1.11, it's like, really? It's going to go down that far? I mean, it shouldn't realistically take out this candle right here. Okay. That will be it. Key Energy Services, official trade on a pullback, buying 2 separate positions, half an R each. New official swing trade. Angela said, how long is the algo room today? The webinar starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, probably goes until about 8 p.m. Eastern. Joanna says, if the stock hits our buy before market, should you still buy? Ooh, is it gapping down? Wow, you're right. It is gapping down a little bit. Yeah, in a situation like this, I mean, if it does really get down that much lower and you want to buy it before market open, you certainly are able to. If it gapped down tomorrow to 346, I mean, I'm just personally going to let this trade without extended hours, meaning I'm only going to play it when the market is open. When I do this, 325, 2019, KEG. So one will be 374. And the stop will be the exact same for both, 221. And this one's going to be 326 with a stop at 221. And it'll be shares and shares. I think it's a good trade. I think it's a good trade based on gap and go, based on a gap and go. Open because it's not triggered yet. Open because it's not triggered yet. And come over here, half R on each. So again, if you're doing a system like this, you just take whatever these shares are and divide it by 2. You know, so for me, 250 is half an R. So in this situation, if you have a $200 R, you just take this exact number. If your R is 100, I'm the same exact difference. You just take the math and just divide it out. So instead of 131 shares here, you would get into 65 shares. Instead of 190 shares, you get into 95 shares, and then you have a full R on the table. Okay, that's KEG. So that was the last trade that we wanted to look at. Now, let me go through really quick the other ones. Haynes Brands. The target for Haynes Brands is 1637. This is the weekly options newsletter from the week before last. So Haynes Brands, the target, 1637. If it hits that price, I will sell, or you can consider selling those puts to close that we are in bullish on the puts, which means we want the stock to go down. AMD, the weekly options newsletter from last week, is still open. If it does not hit tomorrow, I will cancel it. Again, going to get out of OLLI's bargain outlet tomorrow. We got triggered into MGM today. This was a bearish swing trade at 25.90. Make sure that's, pretty sure I clicked that active. MGM active. So MGM, we got triggered in today at 25.90, bearish. So again, we're below all the exponential moving averages on the daily. You're below all of them on a weekly. Long-term moving averages, the stop is below the 200 on the weekly, and it's above the 100 on the daily. So all moving averages on all time frames point to the lower side, and maybe it goes a little bit lower. It does look a little bit different than the market, so playing MGM. Also, iRobot today did trigger on a pullback. IRBT 21.35. We're already up $1 per share. So we'll see if it rolls over. But that did fill today. And ticker symbol WP, World Play, getting in at 109.39, also filled today. So those trades that we set up on Friday on iRobot, MGM, and WP all filled today. All right, team, that's it. I will see most of you in 45 minutes for the first class of the algorithm, how to build your own automated trading system. We'll see you all there. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for subscribing to Real Life Trading. I will see you later. Thank you for enriching our lives. In the email for the stock review, I will send out the link to the classroom of whom we are inspiring and enriching. So, team from around the world, you rock. Bye.